It was a perfectly timed, highly coordinated mission, and tonight we have pictures taken the moment Jeroen van der Sloot and his father were served with a lawsuit. Jeroen was slapped with the suit the moment his plane touched down in New York. At about the same time, his father Paulus got his copy at a New York City hotel. Former New York City homicide detective Bo Dietl served Jeroen with a copy of the lawsuit. He joins us live in New York along with Holloway family attorney John Q. Kelly. Welcome to both of you. Before we get to the actual service, though, John, I want to ask you, the media seems to be quite jazzed up tonight about something going on in Aruba. Is something going on, or is this the media simply getting each other all jazzed up?
It's the latter, Greta, and for lack of better words, what's going on right now is both cruel and misleading. There's no new developments down there. I've talked to Karen Jansen the last couple hours, and what we're seeing here, I think, is a certain network trying to recycle old information represented as new information to promote a certain interview that's coming up in the next day or so, and it's incredibly cruel to do to the family. It's misleading. It's causing another roller coaster ride for Beth and Dave when it's not based on anything new or credible, and it's a shame that this goes on for these purposes.
And I suppose I should give the backstory to the viewers. For the last several hours, everybody in the media who's been following the story has been making calls down to Aruba, down to sources, because there was some sort of thought that someone knew where the body was buried. But apparently this is an old story, but nonetheless, it's certainly it's out there tonight behind the scenes in all the news markets. All right.
There's absolutely nothing to it, Greta. So.
Okay, great, and it's an old one at that. Yep. Bo, all right, you served Jeroen van der Sloot at JFK Airport. You were part of the second service. The first was on the plane. The second was when he had gone through customs. What happened?
Well, John contacted us. We've been involved with the investigation for a couple of months. Matter of fact, I had detectives over in Aruba on this case. We got information around Wednesday that the father was coming in and the son was coming in. We were going to send one of our operatives to Amsterdam to fly in, but we couldn't get there in time. So we made a contact with one of our associates out of London. We put an operative on the plane. What we had to do is we had to serve them simultaneously, because if the father got served first, he'd warn the son, or vice versa. So what happened is when the plane landed, when the plane really took off, we then got the papers, we got the index number on him. We had a surveillance on the family, on the father, when he arrived the night before. We followed him to the Lucerne Hotel. We got a room in the hotel, but we had to wait till we knew for sure that the son was on the plane. Once we knew he was on the plane, then we gave the okay with the papers for him to be served. He was served around 1 o'clock in the lobby, and that's the first pictures. When the plane hit the run, when the plane landed at Kennedy Airport, the operative went up to him and served him his first time on the plane, the summons and complaint. At this time, we had to wait about 2 hours because he wasn't released right away. He was on some kind of a watch list. So when he comes out 2 hours later, I wanted to make personally sure to John and to the family that he was served. Not that he says he never got served on the plane. So we had a video camera, we had still pictures, and I then go to serve. He walks out. I thought it was Darth Vader. Guy comes running over to him, throws a coat on top of him over his head, and he comes walking out. You can see me serving the papers there. I tell him I'm serving with legal court papers, summons and complaint. He wouldn't take them. I stuffed the summons and complaint down his jacket. What he did was, as he's walking, he took his jacket off, he crumpled the papers up, and he threw them down on the floor. I then followed him again. I told him that he was legally served, and we had a little conversation back, and there was some person, I don't know if he was his bodyguard, gave me a kind of a shove, and I, tried to get in between me and him being served, and I just kind of shoved him back out of the way, and then I followed him out to the cab, and I told him, "Welcome to America," and I just didn't like the audacity of him coming out of there. If you don't do anything wrong, normally people come out of immigration with coats on their head. I mean, you can see what the pictures look like. You look like Darth Vader.
Why who put the coat on his head, though, Bo? Was it someone who was traveling with him? Was it someone from, was it from the customs? Any idea?
I think I have an idea. It was the same guy. He looked a little bit like Jimmy the Cricket. He was like a little slight guy, and he ran over and threw the coat on him. I believe it possibly was from another network there, and he was the one that was getting between. This is a legal service, and he was interfering with a legal service, and I think that people have to not draw that line and come across that line.
Was it at the curbside? I mean, where was this?
When they have the opening, when they come out of customs, when they come right out, that the doors open up mechanically, that's when he walked up. So this little Geppetto-looking guy goes running over there, throws a coat on his head, and then I went over to him and I told him I have an official legal service of a summons and complaint. I named him by name, and then he just, the guy pushed me out of the way. He wasn't going to push me too far. And then I went back up and I shoved the papers in this jacket. And I said, you've been served. And as I'm following him, I said, why don't you take your jacket off your head? I said, if you did nothing wrong, why are you trying to hide your head?
All right, Bo, John, both please stand by. We're going to have much more in just a moment.